Training hard but still not getting stronger. You show up, you put in the work, but your pull-ups, dips, or even push-ups just don't seem to improve. You're not alone. This is something that frustrates a lot of people. The truth is, it's not just about effort, it's about whether you're making these hidden mistakes that silently kill your progress. And most people don't even realize they're doing them in this video. We're breaking down 5 key mistakes that might be holding you back. Fixing them can instantly help you unlock more strength, master advanced skills, and get better results from every single workout. Some of these mistakes are obvious, others not so much. And the worst part, you might think you're training the right way, but these habits could be the reason why you're stuck. And here's the best part, stick around until the end. Because the last mistake is something that ruins more progress than anything else. Fixing this one alone can completely change how your body responds to training. All right, let's get into it. Starting with mistake number 1. Starting without a proper warm-up. Most people skip a proper warm-up and wonder why they feel weak. At the start of their session, a good session should always start when you're at your freshest state and highest energy, especially in calisthenics. You want to train your hardest skills when you're at your best. If your best reps happen midway through your workout, your body wasn't ready. When you started, a good warm-up primes your muscles so you can hit max power from set 1. Here's what's really happening. When you go from 0 to max effort without preparing your muscles, joints, and nervous system, your body isn't firing at full capacity, your strength isn't being fully expressed. Because you haven't activated the right pathways. Think of it like trying to sprint. Right after waking up, your legs feel stiff, your coordination is off, and you move slower than usual. That's exactly what's happening when you skip the warm-up. If your first few sets feel off, weak, or sluggish, you're making this mistake. Take 5 to 10 minutes to properly warm up. Start with mobility drills to open up your joints, activation work to fire up your muscles, and light movement like jump rope to raise your heart rate. Your body will hit peak strength from the first set, not halfway through the workout. Number 2. Choosing more reps instead of good form. More reps don't automatically mean more strength. If you rush through movements just to hit a number, you're not training for progress, you're training for ego. You see this all the time. Someone grinding out half-rep pull-ups, bouncing out of push-ups, or speeding through dips without control. They think higher numbers mean better results, but what they're really doing is practicing bad habits. Here's the reality. Strength isn't about how many reps you do. It's about how well you control every single rep. When you prioritize sloppy volume over strict execution, you reinforce poor movement patterns. These become harder to fix over time, and they kill your ability to unlock harder skills like muscle-ups or one-arm push-ups. If your form starts breaking down halfway through a set, or if you feel joint pain instead of muscle fatigue, you're making this mistake. Fix, slow down, use full range of motion, control the negative, and focus on clean execution instead of chasing reps. Chase perfect reps. That's how real strength is built. Number 3. Training to failure. Every set. A lot of people think that if they're not completely destroyed after every session, they didn't train hard enough, but going to failure on every set isn't just unnecessary, it's actively slowing you down. Here's why. When you push every set to your absolute limit, you won't have enough energy to perform your best. In the next set, you'll end up cutting your session short because you're too exhausted, which leads to lower total training volume. This also means that by your next session, you're not fully recovered, and you perform worse instead of progressing. You start burning out. Think about elite gymnasts, boxers, or calisthenics pros. They rarely go all out every single set. They leave room for quality work and focus on consistency over exhaustion. If you find yourself getting weaker week after week, or if your workouts feel like they're constantly draining rather than building you up, you're making this mistake. Fix, leave 1 to 2 reps in the tank on most sets. Failure should be used strategically, not as a default. This way you stay fresh, recover faster, and make steady progress instead of burning out. Number 4. Ignoring mobility and joint health. If your shoulders, wrists, or elbows always feel stiff or painful, that's not normal. It's your body warning you that something is off. Most people ignore this until they get injured, and by then it's already too late. Calisthenics puts huge demands on your joints. Every push-up, dip, and pull-up stresses your wrists, elbows, and shoulders in ways that weight training doesn't. If you never mobilize and strengthen your joints, they'll eventually give out before your muscles do. This is why some people feel stuck in their progress, not because they lack strength, but because their mobility is limiting them. If your squat depth sucks, if your wrists hurt during push-ups, or if your shoulders feel tight when reaching overhead, you're making this mistake. Fix, add 5 to 10 minutes of mobility work every day. Focus on shoulder rotations, deep squat holds, and wrist prep. If you keep your joints healthy, your progress won't hit a wall later on. Number 5. Not tracking progress. Training without tracking is like trying to build a house without a blueprint. You might feel like you're working hard, but if you're not Kicking your numbers, how do you actually know if you're improving? Most people repeat the same workouts for months without knowing if they're getting better. They rely on feelings rather than data. The problem: strength gains are gradual, and if you're not tracking, you might not even realize when you're plateauing. Think about it: if you're doing push-ups every week, but you don't know how many reps you did last session, how can you measure improvement? You might finish a session with 40 push-ups and feel great about it, not realizing you were actually doing 50 push-ups in previous weeks. You're celebrating what's actually a decline in performance. Talk about irony. If you never record your tempo, form, or how fresh you feel, you have no feedback loop to adjust. If you don't know exactly what you did last week, or if you train randomly without a structured plan, you're making this mistake. Fix: log your workouts. Doesn't have to be fancy. Use an app, a notebook, or even your phone's notes app. Track reps, sets, and how you felt after each session. The more data you have, the better decisions you can make about your training. Number 6, inconsistent training. All right, you made it this far, and that means you're serious about your progress. And because you stuck around, I've got a bonus for you. I didn't mention this earlier, but there's actually one more mistake that's more common and more destructive than all the others. We've talked about a lot of people go all in for a few weeks, then disappear when life gets busy or motivation fades. And that's the problem. Motivation isn't reliable. If you only train when you feel like it, you'll always be stuck in a cycle of progress and setbacks. Strength isn't built in a single hard session. It's built through repeated effort over weeks, months, and years. Every time you skip workouts for a week or more, your body trends, your endurance drops, and movement patterns fade. Forcing you to spend time rebuilding instead of progressing. It's like rolling a boulder uphill. Each break means starting over. This is why some people train for years without progress. They're constantly resetting instead of building momentum. Fix: stop relying on motivation and make training part of your routine. Set a non-negotiable schedule, even if it's just 3 days a week. Keep your setup ready so there's no friction to start and track your sessions, because when you see progress, you'll want to keep going. Consistency beats intensity every time. The Calisthenics Playbook isn't just another training guide, it's your complete blueprint for bodyweight mastery. Inside, you'll discover battle-tested progressions and techniques that turn seemingly impossible moves into conquered. Now that you've identified these mistakes and how to fix them, the next step is putting it all together. Strength isn't about luck or genetics. It's about building smart habits that compound over time. One of the most overlooked keys is recovery. Even if you follow every tip perfectly, without proper rest, your muscles, tendons, and nervous system won't adapt. Sleep at least 7 to 8 hours, prioritize nutrition, and give your joints and muscles time to recover between sessions. Recovery isn't a break from progress. It's the engine behind it. Another hidden factor is mind-muscle connection. Too many people go through the motions without actually focusing on which muscles are working. When you slow down, concentrate, and mentally engage the targeted muscle group, you recruit more fibers and get stronger faster. This doesn't just apply to push-ups or pull-ups. It works for every skill from planche holds to front levers. Also, don't underestimate variation. Doing the exact same exercises every week may feel comfortable, but your body adapts quickly. Add slight variations to grip, tempo, or angle to challenge your muscles in new ways. This prevents plateaus and keeps your progress consistent. For example, if your push-ups are stalling, try deficit push-ups, slow negatives, or archer push-ups to push past your limits. Finally, celebrate small wins. Progress might be slower than you expect, but every extra rep, every better set, every smoother movement is proof that your efforts are working. Document these wins and review them weekly. It reinforces consistency and keeps you motivated when the results feel invisible. By addressing warm-up, form, recovery, mobility, tracking, consistency, and variation, you're not just training harder, you're training smarter. Strength is a puzzle, and each of these pieces matters. Ignore even one, and your progress slows. Embrace them all, and suddenly skills that once seemed impossible start to feel natural. Your journey to mastering your body begins with understanding these principles and applying them with patience, focus, and determination.